Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely, and this is Outside the Circle with Scott Stokely and my co-host Derek and Lukey, otherwise known as
Mm,
Dookie.
mm,
No, that not work?
that's all right. Full disclosure. So, Lukey is what my parents used to call me when I was a little kid, and I always hated it. So when you
Okay.
said that, I was just like, "Oh, cringe! So much cringe."
Yeah, but then it transitioned to Dookie, which is like, I'm
Which
sorry,
means I'm the S, so that's fine.
Dookie, always funny.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Doogie's always funny.
I mean,
By
you're
the
the
way,
kind
so
you're
speaking
kind of
of
the
always
ookie though.
funny,
You're the
I have
ookie. I'm just the D.
I have this theory because all my life I had heard that someone died of old age.
Mhm.
Like, if you're lucky, you die of old age. And it's like, come on, you don't die of old age. You die of something, right?
Right.
And I figured out what it is. The moment that you no longer think farts are funny,
Oh, kill
you
me.
you die in your sleep that night.
You die in your sleep that
Yeah.
night. Sheesh.
Yeah,
So
they
just so you know, you want to live forever, people. That I just gave you the fountain of youth there.
yeah,
Just
the moment
continue
my
on.
wife scolds me for farting, I'm like, "Well, it was nice knowing you."
There you go. Dangle that threat in front of her. That's the key to a good marriage, the threat of
Threat
annulment.
threats.
threats, threats and dishonesty. If you have threats and dishonesty, your relationship will
Oh,
last
you're
forever.
yeah.
You're golden.
So what's up,
Man,
guys? How you guys doing?
Doing
great.
well. Doing well.
Yeah.
How about yourself, sir?
Oh my God, I'm so happy.
And you know what? Why is that, Mr. Scott Stokely?
Can I make an announcement?
Yes.
I'm asking myself for permission.
And I'm
Can I make
telling
an
yourself.
announcement? Hell yes, you can make an announcement. Um, so this is like, God, I don't want this to sound like a commercial because that's not what this is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be an advertisement. It's not even my product I'm talking about. But this is one of the most exciting things to happen in my life, my career. Um, about 9 months ago, a documentary filmmaker named Kendra Mueller reached out to me and told me that he wanted to tell a disc golf story. And he basically spent 9 months working on a documentary. And I've seen it. I mean, I saw the rough drafts. I provided him a lot of historical footage and a bunch of things, um, pictures. But so I collaborated on not the creation or making of the documentary, but providing content for it, narration, things like that. And it's by the time this broadcast, it's going to be announced. It's called Not Just a Shot, and it's going to be available on June 3rd. Although he is taking pre-orders at the time of this posting, he'll be taking pre-orders at notjustashot.com. And I'll be honest, I mean, it is the best thing I've ever seen in disc golf as far as content. Um, I'm not comparing it to coverage and tournament footage, but that's like apples and oranges. I mean, those are two different things, right? But
Right.
outside of like coverage, competitive disc golf play, there's never been anything better in our sport, in our sports history. Like I'm blown away. It is so good. And but I don't want to spoil it too much. But notjustashot.com, there's trailers and previews and clips and all sorts of stuff there. But check it out. I highly recommend. Nobody's gonna download this, buy it, download it, and regret watching it. I mean, it's the best thing our sports ever put out.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we'll put a link down in the description so people can watching this can click
That
on
would
that
be
right away.
Yep, that would be fantastic. So yeah, so I'm gonna be plugging the heck out of it. Like I said, it's not my project. I take no credit for it. It was Kendra Mueller is yeah, I don't have words because I haven't come up with the words for it yet. It's
Right.
really good. Like I'll stake my name, my reputation, everything on how much everybody will enjoy this.
Heck yeah. And that comes out June 3rd, you said?
June 3rd. Yes,
June
you
3rd.
can pre-order
June
it now,
3rd.
and then it's available on June 3rd. It'll be,
Okay.
I guess you get like a download code or however the website works, but
Cool. And that's not just a shot.com.
notjustashot.com.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Plug it all the way in.
So Jennifer freaking Allen.
Yes.
Yeah. Holy
She had herself a
smokes.
weekend.
Yes. Jennifer Allen. This is the Jennifer Allen. I talked to her. We messaged back and forth right afterwards, and I told her, look, this is your week. This week belongs to you. Just enjoy every second of it because this is the Jennifer Allen week. This is her week. She earned it.
For sure.
If you haven't seen it, Jennifer Allen starts off the final round of the Beaver State Fling, leading by 2 strokes. Holland Hanley hot on her tail. Holland is like, Holland's going to win majors.
Oh,
Holland
yeah.
is on the
Definitely.
cusp of like breaking through into the next level. So no worries that she's like going to win a ton of good tournaments and not someone you want chasing you. So Jennifer steps up to the first hole and gets a hole in one.
Absolutely pures it.
So in the second round, threw almost an exactly identical shot and slightly got like iron limbed on that right side and came up just a bit short. And as like even in the coverage, they were kind of like, this looks even better than the shot from yesterday. And right as they finish that sentence, ching.
Actually, we'll throw up the clip.
Yeah, we'll throw the clip in.
We'll throw the clip in here.
Unbelievable. It's perfect. I mean, I've been friends with Jennifer forever. She told me that I was the very first pro whose autograph she ever got back in the 90s.
Dang.
Yeah. And so when I met her after I took 13 years off or 14 years off, whatever, you know, she came up to me. I saw her for the first time in San Antonio, and we've become friends again. We weren't really friends before, but we've become friends. And we've gotten to know each other. She went to Australia. I was in Australia. I don't know. She's just, look, she's the bee's knees as far as I'm concerned, as far as people in the sport. Everything about her is good. And like, if you're not happy for Jen Allen, you're wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
she's great.
Deserved it, just like everybody else out there.
Yeah, it was great to finally see her game come together because she's always put a move on the disc. There's no question. But her putt has always been kind of the crux of her game. Like she can drive, but she loses strokes in putting. So to see her really put it together this weekend was awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, up until I would say, well, she's the farthest throwing female disc athlete in history, world records. I would say that Ella Hansen is going to take that spot, but that's what's supposed to happen, right? I mean, but that doesn't take anything away from Jennifer. I mean, she's the farthest throwing female disc golfer or disc athlete for a decade, and possibly of all time you know. And by the way, Ella hasn't taken that title from her yet, but I projected Ella probably will. And yeah, I mean, she's all that. And the thing is, she's an older player. And as an older player, it was so great to see her win because Holland, I love Holland. She's one of my several favorite FPO players in the world. I'm a huge fan. I'm rooting for Jennifer because Holland is going to win a bunch of big tournaments.
Right, yeah.
Like, those are all in her future. Like, I have no fear whatsoever that Holland's going to win a bunch of tournaments. But Jennifer Allen, as an older player, is like, okay, tick-tock, right? I mean, that's just the reality. Father Time has never lost on a disc golf course, right?
Yeah.
So it was for Jen to do it. I'm so glad, you know, I'm just proud of her, happy for her. Everyone is.
In such a spectacular fashion too.
Yeah. I mean, she has several wins, but nothing on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, even though this is a silver event, like it's still a big deal.
The Pro Tour event counts.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
then here's the funny thing. Okay, so I am pulled over. I'm in the Highlands of Scotland. I'm pulled over to the side of the highway in a rest area watching. I got a picture. Adriana took a picture of me watching the final FPO round on my phone on the side of the highway because kids, I wasn't watching while driving. And on that last putt, you know, Holland chained out. And then so all Jennifer had to do was just lay it up. And now she only had like a 20-footer, but you're still supposed to lay that putt up. I mean, you can roll away, anything can happen. and she's lining it up, and then she lines up to go for it. I'm like, no, don't do this. Lay it up. 99% chance if you go for it softly, you still win. But it's 100% if you lay it under the basket.
Right.
And she steps up and she makes it. And she told me, I hope I'm not breaking her confidence when she told me this, but that was her way of erasing the self-doubt, because she's had openly discussed this. I'm not sharing something that she hasn't talked about,
Mhm.
but the mental game has been a challenge at times. And this was her way of being like, screw that. I'm Jennifer Allen. I'm confident. Everybody believes in me. I need to believe in myself also. And she stepped up and made the putt instead of laying it up. And I think that was her way of saying, I'm not I'm not afraid.
Yeah, with authority.
With authority.
Definition.
Yeah, if she
Yes.
misses it, she blows past.
With
that was
authority.
risky.
Right.
But that risk, I think, is going to gain her rewards in the future, because now she's done it.
Yeah, that's that mental barrier just
Gone.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's kind of something I've always wondered, because the layup is twofold. If you have strokes to play with, obviously you want to lay it up to guarantee that you make it and
Yes.
win. But also it kind of gives the winner their moment to putt out last. So they can have their drop in, raise the hands, I won, do the whole ceremony. Then there's the other where it's like almost like a gentlemanly thing to do, is to let them lay up so they can have their moment. But also, like, so for me, right, I've never been in that position, but if I was in that position, like say, uh, yeah, I had that putt for the win, even if I had 2 strokes to play with, the competitive side of me wants to jam it into the heart of the chains to be like, I can do this. I don't need to lay up, you know? So there's that too. And I've always wondered, it's like, you don't ever see that on tour. I always wondered why. I like a little
Okay.
bit of showboating per se.
The competitive side of me is why I lay up,
Right.
because the competitive side of me says, don't screw this up. Win.
Right.
Look, I'll tell you right now, if I was Jennifer's coach and she makes that putt for the win, she's running laps on Monday morning.
Yeah.
Like, don't you ever do that again. If I was her caddy, I would have chewed her out for it. Like, that's me. I all day long, I lay that putt up.
Hmm.
So, but her reasons for doing it were valid.
Right.
That was her basically breaking through a mental barrier. So I think that she actually did it with wisdom, not anything else. I think she was right in that situation. If you're a young player watching, lay that putt up.
Right. Yeah. I was just wondering. So let me ask you this. Last year at Worlds, right, when Paul laid up for the win because he could, because he had the strokes to play with after Aaron Gossage went out of bounds, wouldn't it be a little cheeky if he just sunk the putt, as in like y'all thought I was washed up, kind of like trash talking without trash talking?
Nope, he's wrong.
Really?
Yes, come on. Like, there's not a player in the game that hasn't had a 20 or 25-foot putt hit and roll away.
Right.
Like, that's happened. It's rare when you putt soft, but it happens. We've seen it happen. Like, why do a 99% chance of winning when you have 100%? If it's a big tournament, if I'm in a B tier, I don't care or whatever.
Right.
Like, that's not, or if I'm playing an MP50 tournament of any level, I don't care.
Hmm.
But if I'm playing, if I would have had a chance to win a DGPT by laying it up, oh my God, not in a million years would I go for that. But hey, that's
fair
me.
assessment. Fair assessment. Yeah,
Right.
to each
That's
their own.
but
as I
again,
like to
it's not
say.
because I'm afraid. That's the competitive part of me says, what is the best probabilities of winning? 99% is not as high a probability as 100%.
Yeah. I think personally, I would like to see it once, just to go, phew, that's cold, just to
Right.
have that, like, dang, that dude's a killer, like
Right.
I love to see it as a consumer, but I guess, yeah, if I was a competitor and there was like, all I gotta do is lay up and tap in and I win thousands of dollars, I'm laying up and tapping in.
Hey, I'll give you an example of this in other sports. And it has backfired.
Mhm.
Go look it up on YouTube. That all the quarterback has to do is kneel on the ball 3 times, but instead they hand it off.
Right, yeah.
Teams have lost doing that.
Fact.
And to me, like, if that coach has a job next weekend, then the owner of that team is a moron, because that is this. Why would you hand the ball off just because there's a 99% chance they won't fumble?
Right.
Like, no, if you can kneel it out, you kneel. And not every team does. And by the way, they'd be criticized for kneeling. Well, they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like that unwritten rule in basketball. Like if uh if you're winning by a marginal amount towards the end of the game, you hold on to the ball instead of dunking. It just seems like almost one of those
Yeah, you
those
don't
unwritten
run the
rules.
court and slam it when
Okay, so
you're
I'm going to play
40
devil's
points up.
advocate here. And I'm not devil's advocate. I completely disagree with those rules. Like running up to score
Yeah.
in professional sports, run up the score. These are professionals. This isn't
Mhm.
little league where you're like insulting and making the kids feel bad.
That's
Like,
Right.
fair.
it's professional
men.
sports.
Grown men, grown women.
Grown men, grown women. They've like, if they can't handle, like, if you don't want the score run up, stop them from scoring. But you're professionals and you're being paid money. Who cares? Like, this is not amateur sports. You're professionals. You're being paid the same amount of money whether you win or lose. I have no problem with running up the score, none whatsoever in pro sports. And by the way, I've never been leading a disc golf tournament by 7 or 8 strokes and then played for par.
Right.
I try to score my best score on the course, and no one's ever accused me of running up to score because I'm playing well,
Right.
That's fair.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I always found that a weird thing in basketball. I'm just like, just let them dunk. I mean, if the other team already had their chance to try to score and just couldn't, who cares? You already lost. Just let them do their thing.
I saw a guy one time. He was at 49 points. It was going to be his first 50-point game. And I can't remember now if he scored and they got mad at him, or he refused to take a shot because they were going to. I think he scored and they got mad at him.
Mhm.
And it's like, the guy had a chance for a 50-point game, and you're going to be, I don't know.
Yeah, let them go for it. Let them
Why
do it.
not? And then try to stop him. Don't give it to him.
Do you follow the PGA at all?
Uh, yeah, back in 1987.
Yeah, nothing new.
No, not really.
Me
Why?
neither.
There's a new and improved form of golf out there. Don't
Right.
get mad at ball golfer. Ball golf's a great sport.
I don't
But
follow it, but there is a great story coming out of the PDGA this week. I don't know if you caught wind of it at all.
the PGA?
Yeah.
What?
Uh, I forget the man's name. He was a club pro who was just doing lessons at $150 an hour, like a club pro does, who made it onto this event, ended up, I think, scoring even par both rounds, which even par in ball golf is really good, actually.
Right.
Uh, and then actually sinks a hole in one during one of his rounds, ends up top 15, ends up banking like $275,000, and then gets invited to the next PGA Tour event when he's literally just a club pro. It was a
That's,
great story. Like, he was just killing it all week, and he was a really likable guy. I didn't know if you caught wind of that or not.
no, I hadn't. But that is great. That's one of the great things about sports: the stories.
Yeah,
Sports
it
without
was great.
stories, that is stupid. Like, that's just throwing a ball through a net or something, right? But the stories are what make sports. I mean, this is one of the reasons why the Olympics did such a, like, I think for the longest time, like, what they did so good is they told the stories, because nobody cares about shot put for 4 years.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, shot put is on. Number one, you're tribal because of your country, but then they start
Mhm.
giving the background story, and you realize, oh my God, that kid had leukemia when he was 5. I'm rooting for him. Oh, but
Right.
he's from Bulgaria. I don't even know where that is. But he overcame leukemia. Like those are the things that make sports the best, right?
The stories.
And then there's sometimes where they can overdo it. And I'll give you an example. It's not really a sport, but it kind of is. America Ninja Warrior. You ever seen that?
Oh yeah, it's a game show.
Yeah. Every
Sorry.
contestant has to have a story, and you're like, all right, well, he's gonna go on to the next round because they took all this time and investment and
Right.
gave you your backstory. I don't care about that. I just want to see if he can freaking monkey bar it or not. That's all I want. That's all I came here for.
Oh no, like it's like on one of those like those Got Talent shows. Like you can't
Yeah.
win a Got Talent show unless you were like really insecure and bullied.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
But
or
but
came
I'm
back from an
also
injury.
but I'm guilty of rooting for those people too because that is
Tugs at your
interesting.
heartstrings. Yeah.
It does. I mean, again, that's what sports is. I mean, it's a story. I mean, sports is symbolic of life,
Hmm.
and we're watching life played out like an entire journey in like in 2 hours, and yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that can make a moment more iconic is the commentator or announcer during. I mean, if you think of like the what was it, the Miracle on Ice, you know?
Yeah.
Like it would still have been a big deal, but you believe like you still hear, "Do you believe in miracles?" in your
Mhm.
head whenever you think about it. It's that one thing that if you have a great commentator or announcer during that moment can really drive it from a great moment to an iconic moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's also times when the announcer doesn't talk
Yes,
and
that's also very
lets
important.
the crowd be the announcer. There's
Mhm.
some famous stories of like uh, home runs where the announcer doesn't say a word throughout what lets the player run the bases, and like knowing when to shut up is is a
Right.
Pretty
skill
key.
also.
Pretty key.
When
Yeah.
it comes to commentating, I get asked a lot. People are like, "Oh, you should commentate," and I think commentating is really hard. Like
Yeah.
I think the people commentating our sport do a fantastic job. I don't think they're not perfect, but they're damn sure better than I could do because it is really, really hard.
Right.
And watching them, like I thought I thought
Yes.
Zoe does a good job.
Yeah.
She's
She does.
really good. And when I was watching it and I was thinking to myself, sometimes I would hear something, I'd think, well, I wouldn't have said that, or I don't think the players are thinking that. But big picture, when I watch her, that's I think that's better than I could do. I just don't think it's a skill set that comes easily. It's
Right.
hard. It's
Yeah.
a hard gig.
Yeah, I
Zoe's
think,
very good.
some of the issue is, well, A, it's a 4 to 5 hour broadcast. I think I don't know, the trap you can kind of fall into is thinking you have to be saying something the whole time.
Hmm.
Like you said, sometimes the silence is much better than like, if you're hearing chatter from the card or something, you don't have to be talking over it. You can just let that play because now you're getting insight on the course that you didn't have before, and I like that. Some commentators just need to just keep talking, and I don't agree with that.
The thing that the biggest fault I find with the commentators, and again, I can't stress this enough. I'm not suggesting I would be better at it, but
Call them out.
there seems to be a lot of like, here's what the players are thinking.
Right.
And number one, you probably don't know what those players are thinking. But number two, most of the time, it seems like they're stock answers. They're really feeling the nerves here,
Yeah.
but that's independent of who the actual players are. That is just the stock answer for tied with 2 holes to go. And it's like, well, maybe, but maybe not. And you're when you're saying that they're feeling nervous and oh they're trying to shake off the last hole and oh they're thinking about yesterday's round and like that's the only thing I really don't like is because I don't think it's true most of the time. I think it's just trying to fill the space of like I'm going to give you insight to what these players are thinking, but I don't I don't know that they all feel nervous. I don't feel nervous when I play, and I can't be the only one.
Let me get your opinion about how do I word this? The frequency in which they throw to the man on the course. So they usually have like Terry Miller
Terry,
or Brian Earhart usually on the course on the phone, giving insight. How do you feel about how frequently one should be throwing to the man on the course?
I think they do. I think the production is great.
Mhm.
I love the way it flows. I love. Well, let's put it this way. I've never noticed it as something being too much or too little.
Okay.
So I guess to me it's invisible, which is what you want it to be.
Right.
So I think it's right.
Okay. There's been rumblings online about a certain commentator, and I won't say who, that throws it to the on course reporter more often than I guess people think that he should. And that's why I wanted to get your opinion. I won't say names of who it was, but I saw it online and I was like, I mean, sure, but also it's needed. You know, we only have 2 cameras usually on a hole, and sometimes you don't get to see where it landed or how close it is to OB or anything like that. You got a guy on the course that can, yeah, that's inbounds. You know, it makes sense.
No, I think so. I mean, I think everything really. I think coverage is fantastic. I think the announcers are all good. I would say right now, the worst announcer or commentator in disc golf is good.
Yes.
And I don't think that was always the case. And some of the people that maybe weren't, I wouldn't have considered good before, have improved to a point where I would call everybody good.
Right.
Nobody's bad. There's nobody where I cringe and I think, oh, why are they on commentary? Like I like what I hear. I mean, I think they do a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want good commentary, go back to like old Jomez videos when it's like Simon and Paul doing a commentary on their own round, and there's just like it is just this is what I'm throwing. Came up kind of short, 30-foot putt. Like there was no insight. It was just kind of like exactly what you were
Just a
seeing.
detailed step by step, like this happened.
You know what I want to do, and we've been talking about this, and I have not asked if I can do this or have permission to do this, but I wanted to see if I could mic myself up during my round or some of my rounds in Europe and just shoot it with a camera,
Mhm.
which basically means it's not going to be good. It's not coverage. Like, no, this is not a substitute for coverage. I'm not stealing views away from anybody. But that way I could walk people through the entire thought process of the round, at least from my perspective, because a lot of people don't know what to expect or what people are going through when they're playing. And I have no problem, like I'm not distracted from my round if I'm talking. I mean, I could be cognizant of the fact that I have a microphone on, and the whole time I am saying
Mhm.
what I'm thinking, what am I contemplating, what are my thoughts of the other players' shots. I would love to do that if they let me, because it would just be insight. It's not competition with the coverage.
Right.
It's no substitute for coverage by any stretch. So I'm going to be actually asking them if I can do this because I think it would be fun for people.
Yeah, Jomez used to do that. They would not. I mean, it was they'd have a player mic'd up during the round, and then you'd hear snippets during post production, just because they didn't have it on the whole time. But sometimes, like I remember, there was one thing that like stuck with me, and Paul was mic'd up, and I think it was at GMC actually. And there's one hole, couldn't tell you the whole number. It's a pretty stock, kind of straight, let the disc fade, but not dump, and then you'll have a putt. And the basket's underneath the trees, but his disc was outside of the tree line. And he went to putt, uh, left it high, and you hear him say to himself, "There's tailwind out here, not in there." And I was like, "Oh man, that's something I've actually never thought about before. Is when you're putting into a cove like that, you're not as going to be as affected by the wind as you would be outside." So it's something I think about when I'm putting still. Like, what's the wind near me, and then what's the wind at the basket? And I just like
Yeah,
having those insights sometimes.
yeah, and I would love to share that because, uh, like I love breaking down the psychology of the game, the strategy of the game, the mathematics of the game. I mean, that to me is fun. I could talk all day about that. One reason I wouldn't be good on commentary is because I think I get a little bit too wordy, which means I'm not for everybody. But for
Right.
the people that follow me that do want to hear long, descriptive, where I give you 4 different analogies to explain something, because that's how I visualize it, you're not forced to watch it because it's not coverage being forced to listen to this guy do that. It's for the people that connect with my way of communicating that would enjoy it. So I'm hoping that I get to do that. I think it would just be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Kind of sick.
I feel like they would need a dump button for me. I swear too much in my normal life. If I got comfortable, like I wouldn't even think about it. And if I see a great shot, I'd be like, "Holy ass!" And then I'd probably get kicked off immediately.
That actually is my biggest fear, is that I would say something like that I'm thinking that I don't want anybody to know, because there's not a person alive that doesn't have thoughts, that if those thoughts were vocalized, people would be offended or not
Oh,
like it.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so I would have to be like constantly aware that I have a microphone on, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Although
I,
swearing during commentary, I mean, they just gotta try it out one time. It's a paid subscription anyway. There's no FCC regulations on that. Just give it a shot. Let them just let them drop a couple F bombs here and there. We'll see what happens. I
why
mean,
not?
during the miracle shot, James Conrad, instead of the Ian Anderson that we got, let him say holy yes. What the F was that? That'd been awesome.
You know what? I mean, when you say the biggest reason to not swear is so it actually has power when you do. If you swear all
Right.
the time, it doesn't mean anything. Not swearing is great, because when you do swear, people are like,
Yeah. I mean, I'm just
so.
saying, just let them make it PG-13. That's 2 F bombs. That's all you need.
So speaking of swearing,
Ooh.
uh, I'm joking that was actually like a
Oh man,
that was
I was
not a
ready for
segue
it.
whatsoever.
I was ready for it.
Um, I
George
played.
Carlin.
I had a tournament this weekend where I played pretty well.
Pretty well.
Yes, we saw.
Yeah. I went into the final round of the Scottish Open in Glasgow, Scotland, trailing. I was in second place with 1 round to go, and in the final round, I started off birdieing 12 of my first 13 holes, and
Not bad.
got the course record 14 under, 10:59 rated round, to come back and win it, and got to play with Charlie, Rick, and Chris, and just had a delightful time playing with those guys. They're all really, really good. But it's my last round before hitting the major European disc golf tour, and so yeah, that's
Good confidence boost.
oh my god. I hadn't been playing well for a couple of rounds. I had played like 5 rounds in a row, hovering around 1,000 or just under 1,000 rated.
Mhm.
After shooting like 1,020 for like 3 tournaments in a row, I was like 1,026 or 1,028 for 3 tournaments. Like I was playing so good, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I had like 5 rounds in a row, hanging around just under 1,000, and I'm like, what the heck just happened to my game? And then to do that made me, oh, thank God.
Huge confidence boost.
So
Huge.
what's your next stop? What's your first stop of the European Pro
Croatia.
Tour? Croatia.
Croatia. In 3 weeks, I'm going to Pro Forster in Croatia, and
Okay.
oh boy, I'm so excited. We're gonna have
Is
an RV. I got a couple new sponsorship announcements. I will be announcing here shortly. A bag sponsor, a rangefinder sponsor,
nice.
a sponsor that makes your feet not stink after
I
a
love
round of
that.
disc golf, and a
I love
sponsor
that.
that sells RVs.
Oh, you got to hook me up with that one.
All of which,
Yeah,
once it's announced, you can get at scottstokely.net, right?
you can get none of these you buy off me.
No?
No,
Okay.
I'll have links up to all these different things. I'm not going to be
Okay.
selling these products. They're actual sponsors. So
But you can still
uh,
find the links at scottstokely.net.
GuyStokely.net.
There we go.
There you go.
In the description. There
But
you go.
yeah, no, that's gonna be. I'm really excited to hit that. But right now, we're actually off to Ireland, and then it's just so cool. I'm just having so much fun in the UK.
That's so awesome.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
Terry coming over for the Pro Forester this year? I know he usually gets over there for it.
I haven't heard. I would love to see Terry.
Yeah.
Terry's the best.
It'd be awesome. Maybe you could have him on as a guest on OTC.
We could.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is like, look at we're just like we're still beta testing this thing. There's so many things we can do, and we gotta stand out somehow because a lot of people are talking about the Pro Tour. A lot of people are talking about disc golf. I mean, we may be more handsome than all those other people. I mean, let's
Oh,
be
by
honest,
But I
far.
will say
by
there's
a
only
lot.
one you talking about you.
I know, but there's also things we can do. So if we start adding, if we come up with some things that are going to make us different, such as doing stuff from the tournaments in Europe. I mean, that's different.
Yeah.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, speaking
So-
of, the Belgian Open happened over the weekend. I caught some of the coverage.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about this.
Okay.
So they're adhering to the same PDGA rules and standards as the Disc Golf Pro Tour, I imagine. Correct?
I assume.
There was a professional player wearing, it was dry fit material. I can tell you this. But he was on one of the feature cards wearing a flaming hot Cheetos jersey where it literally had Chester on the back and it was like flames at the bottom. I don't know if you seen this guy at
No,
all.
I haven't.
I'm all for European disc golf, and I want European disc golf to grow in the same way that the DGPT grows. But when you have that guy on camera, it makes it look very unprofessional. I will say that.
I didn't see it.
This was on Disc Golf Stream, so this wasn't one of the DGPT is covering.
No, but I don't know. I mean, and then, yeah, I can't speak on it. I did not see it.
We'll throw up a picture here. You'll see it afterwards, but
I know there are a lot of players. I mean, Germ and oh god, why am I drawing a blank?
Eric
Oh my
Oakley, I
god.
think's over there.
Well, no, but I mean, as far as wearing like more creative looking jerseys.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Um,
Why can't I think of his name?
oh my god, he's like top
Joel
10 in the world.
Freeman.
Joel Freeman, thank you.
Gosh.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I
Mr.
love the way
Strawberries.
I love the way Joel dresses. I love the way Germ dresses because they're standing out. And I can't speak to the Cheeto guy, but like I don't find
Another great
Joel
one,
Freeman
Mr. Matty
unprofessional.
O.
I think he's got a unique look that makes him look like Joel Freeman. Like you can
Matty
tell
O.
Joel Freeman from across the course, and from a marketing and branding perspective, that's a win.
Right.
That's a
For
huge
sure.
win.
For sure.
Man,
And
I almost wish I could pull it up on screen.
Payne Stewart used to play in knickers ball golf, and nobody thought that made ball golf look unprofessional because he was rocking this unique look.
Right.
See, I do know ball golf from 1987. I told you.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
look at
3 years before I was born, I follow
Okay,
it directly.
there is John Daly that exists in the PGA. So I don't think there's going to be anything anytime soon that's going to make them look unprofessional because he is like the spokesperson for Hooters and Marlboro cigarettes and Budweiser. And dude still goes out there and cranks a golf ball further than half of the young guys on tour. So
yeah, I
Wish I
think
could throw it up on
I think the sport's got room for that. The NBA wasn't hurt by Dennis Rodman.
nope.
I mean, there's I think there's room for it. And so yeah, I mean you can pull it up on the screen, but I mean if it complies with the rules,
It
like
definitely does.
If it complies
Definitely
with the
does.
rules, then I would say push those limits as much as you want to. And if they don't like it, change the rules. But if he's following the rules and we're talking about him,
I mean, sure.
Kind of a
You know,
win in his
Kind of the
regard.
same way we talked. Well, we didn't because we weren't around, but people were talking about what's his name? I'm so bad with names today. He plays for Lone Star, forehand guy.
Chandler Kramer.
Chandler Kramer last year at the European Open, competing in a t-shirt and basketball shorts, but made lead card. So I mean, nothing against him, but people were talking about it. There's always this thing about the dress code in disc golf, and I know what the PGA says, but people always think, oh, well, you need to wear polos and khakis and try to make it much like ball golf. Whatever your opinion is on it, I personally didn't like the look of this flaming hot Cheetos dry fit on what is supposed to be a produced broadcast. It just made it look like, oh, this is still that niche sport that people aren't taking seriously.
There
You
was
know
a
what's really
guy.
funny? It would be really funny if you were totally cool with it if it was Doritos.
Oh yeah,
But the
Cool
problem
Ranch
with the Doritos,
Doritos, that'd have been
like
perfect.
like you're racist against Cheetos.
Yeah.
But before you express that, you say, "Look, I want to be clear. I have a friend that eats Cheetos."
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against Cheetos. I mean, he eats Cheetos.
Yeah, I mean, there was
Not
a
against
guy.
Cheetos. I mean, I
There
think
was a
people that
guy
eat,
at the
eat
tournament
Cheetos
this
should.
last
Yeah.
weekend that wore a kilt.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I
There's a
was gonna wear a kilt this weekend. No,
there,
I actually had plans to wear a kilt at the Scottish Open because I planned on being up by 10 strokes going into the last round, and then I could wear a kilt. But I wasn't gonna wear a kilt and possibly finish. I was in position. I could have finished fourth place if I didn't play a good round. I wasn't gonna wear a kilt and then finish like fourth. So if I had been leading by like 5 or 6 strokes, then my plan was to wear a kilt on Sunday. I even asked them. I said, "Would you feel that I was appropriating your culture if I did that, or would you guys like it?" And they're like, "No, it would be awesome," or however they talk.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
It
there
wasn't
was
a
a
bad Scottish
Oh,
accent.
top of the morning to ya.
There it is.
there's a good one. Yeah, there was
It's
definitely a guy wearing a
pretty
kilt
sure
at
that
the
was
tournament
Irish.
this last
That was
weekend
pretty sure
here
that
in
was
Michigan.
Irish too.
So,
I'm so sorry, Scotland. I'm terrible at accents.
They're gonna
that,
hate you
that
now.
sounded very Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
That's actually what it was. That's also kind of racist. Have you noticed that all UK people look alike?
I mean, we'll digress and we'll move onward.
Oh, that one got me. That one got me.
Hey, the people. Hey,
Oh.
I'll tell you what I've noticed though. Check this out. Every country appears different. Like when you're over, like in the U.S., it's like you think Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and England. You kind of think of them as very kind of similar, but they're definitely distinctly different. They all have their own personality. You know,
Right.
the people in Wales are different than the people in England and the people in Scotland. This is the best thing I heard about Scotland is that I heard something along the lines of, people in Scotland can't stand the people in England, and people in England don't ever think about Scotland.
That reminds me of another Simpsons clip. Man, they're so ingrained in pop culture. It was groundskeeper Willie.
Doing stand up.
No. But he was saying something about natural enemies. He's like, they're natural enemies like the Scots and the Brits and the Scots and the French or the Scots and the Scots. I hate them Scots.
So here's what I'll tell you about Scotland. People in Scotland are so tough. I've joked about how tough people in Australia are. The Australians are the toughest people in the world, and they very well may be.
Mm-hmm.
But the Scottish people are pretty tough too because the trophy I won. This is amazing. I love all these cultures. The trophy I won was this cup. It's like this. It's like a drinking cup. It looks like kind of like the size of like a pet's bowl.
It's a
Mhm.
goblet.
But you could probably fit a can of beer in there, right? And it has two handles, one on each side.
It's a goblet.
And the reason why it has a handle on each side was because traditionally, if you pour someone a beer from another clan and you hand them this drink to share the beer with them, you have to hold it with two hands, which means you're not handing them a beer with one hand and then when they're not looking, stabbing them in the gut with a knife with the other hand.
I like that.
So the trophy I won symbolized proving that you're not going to stab the person with a knife that you're offering a drink to. And I'm like, damn, you guys are tough.
Yeah.
Because I'm
That's
sorry,
hardcore.
because like in Scotland, it's like here's how we because we're worried about being stabbed, and like in the U.S., it's like don't hurt my feel goods.
Yeah. Well, there's also the whole gun violence thing in America, but we won't get into
Wow.
that.
Let's
Yeah,
that.
everybody has guns.
U-turn.
So, anyways, yeah, no, the people in Scotland are fantastic. The people in England, everybody's great. I mean, we love people everywhere. I enjoy like how different the cultures are. I'm never laughing at the people. I love the history. I love the fact that there's this rivalry that let's put it this way. I heard someone as recently as today from England say to the person from Scotland when as a response to like some jab, his response was, "Yeah, ever since 1740." That was his answer. Like he basically he played the 1740 card. Yeah, well, according to the Treaty of 1740, so I win.
Yeah, right.
That's
You know, we don't
hilarious.
have history in the U.S. Our history goes back like 9 years. Like I think the Revolutionary War was 9 years ago or something.
At least.
At
At
Maybe
least 9 years ago.
maybe 59 years, but no more than that.
No more. Um, so while you're in Scotland, I think there is one thing that everybody wants to know. Have you had haggis?
Yes, of course.
And how is it?
It's it's just greasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just lamb innards with a lot of grease.
Yeah, minced
It's
meat
not
and
Mincemeat,
authentic
yeah, it's just
Japanese cuisine.
yeah. Look,
got
I'm not
scorpion
even
on
gonna
a
like.
stick.
I am not going to I'm not going to go into details because I don't want to like lose like part of my audience. But um, I ate at least 3 different mammals raw in Japan. Mammals raw.
We'll let you figure out which ones.
Yeah. So don't get mad at me, like, because if I people are gonna get mad at me. Don't ask me. By the way, I'm not going to tell you. So yeah. So wherever we are, we eat the local food.
Yeah, I just
In
didn't know.
fact, one of the things we're talking about next time we go back to Asia, in Japan and South Korea, there's a meal where they actually they serve you the tentacles from an octopus that was alive 10 seconds ago. And the tentacles are moving on your plate. Go watch video of this. You eat it, it's a plate full of food, and the tentacles are still moving on the plate. And then you eat them.
Yeah, I'm out on that one.
You're
No,
out?
thank you.
You're not
No.
gonna do it?
There's a
I'd
lot
try
of
it.
things I will eat, but if it's still moving, I'm good.
I'd try it.
I
I'm the guy
can't
that
I
like
can't do it.
at the sushi restaurant when people are like, "Hey, you should try this." I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Of
Why not?"
course. Yeah, we'll definitely eat it. Well, here's the best part. They said, this is what we were told. They said you have to chew it really good because it's just basically the nerve impulses are still going,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess. Like frog legs will do the same thing, I guess. But what they said was that you have to chew it really good because the suckers on the tentacles will actually try to grab your throat when you're swallowing it.
Oh,
I don't know if
dang.
that's true, but they said that it'll involuntarily like try to grab on while so you have to like chew it really good.
That's
Ooh.
Hey, by the
gross.
way, I don't like that food typically. It's not that I'm enjoying the food, but it's just when we're in a country, we're going to try to embrace the culture. And if that's something that I'll eat whatever somebody in the country eats. There's nothing I won't eat because that's what they eat. That's the culture.
Right. I think I would just wanna go and try other cultures, like, take on pizza.
No, you don't.
I do, though.
No, no,
Why not?
no. Because
Why?
it's because they don't.
They don't know what
He's like,
pizza
"'Cause they
is.
don't."
They don't. So okay, let me say 95% of our meals are all local foods. We don't eat like we don't go to like a burger joint in Malaysia, right, or something like
Right.
that. That's not why we're in Malaysia. But every once in a while, you get to a hotel late, and all they have is like pizza or something like that because it's like 11 o'clock at night, and you just got in. Every once in a while, you're stuck eating this kind of like tourist food.
Right.
Most countries can't do pizza or ice cream. I'm not
Well,
saying America's better at everything. America's got its problems,
Well,
but America kicks ass at pizza and ice cream.
so what is it about the pizzas that you had at other places that
It's just well, first off, a lot of them they just don't. Well, okay, so and we didn't order this. I just saw this on the menu. This was in Bangkok. There was a Pizza Hut
Mhm.
at Bangkok, and there was a menu that had all the different pizzas you can order. It was Pizza Hut, and there was not one single pizza on that menu that existed at Pizza Hut USA. Like there was no such thing as pepperoni. They had no pepperoni pizzas, no pizza margaritas. Everything was pizza with
seafood?
seafood or scorpion, or I'm not saying these are bad, but it's just that's not what pizza is. Like pizza is like we know what pizza is.
Right. And
It's pizza.
I want to try other cultures' take on pizzas, knowing that it's not going to be pizza from the US. Like I'm curious what they think a pizza is.
It's still better than the ice cream. I'm going to tell you about the
Yeah.
ice cream. There are. I swear to God, you can't make this stuff up. I've given up trying to order ice cream in a lot of countries. Like I'll
Mhm.
try it. I don't even try it. It was in Cambodia. I think it was Cambodia and Thailand, but we went to multiple ice cream restaurants. So, okay, my big thing, okay, if you follow me, I was an ice cream junkie before I had to start getting healthy to go on tour. I ate ice cream every single day, but I always ate chocolate ice cream.
Mhm.
Not to eat the same thing every time, but I wanted to taste different chocolate ice cream because all chocolate ice cream is different. I went to multiple ice cream restaurants over in Southeast Asia where how cooking chocolate doesn't, like, it kind of tastes
It's
like
bitter.
it's
Yeah.
bitter. It doesn't taste good. It's just chocolate flavor, but it needs sugar to become chocolate.
Right.
Multiple ice cream places had ice cream with like cooking chocolate in it and no sugar.
Yeah.
It was chocolate flavored, not sweet. And it's very disconcerting when you take a bite of it and it's like it's not sweet.
Yeah. I've tried like vegan desserts like that because like I have a huge sweet tooth, so like I always like, oh, I need to try to find a healthy alternative so that I can like continue to eat sweets. And I do it, and then I'm like, this is garbage. Like it just doesn't taste like what you hope it is.
Yep. Never.
No, no. I'll tell you who does the best dessert though, and they're all over Southeast Asia. They even have, actually, I googled it. There's even some places in the U.S. I'm sure they do it differently, but it's from South Korea. There's several different countries have their own name for it,
Mhm.
but it's the same thing. So you gotta like use your imagination. So you order it, you get this thing about a foot tall. That's it's a snow volcano. Okay, it's the consistency of like light, really light powder, except whatever they put in it, it doesn't melt. So it just stays like an ice volcano. But there's like 4 or 5 different flavored syrups, like in different patches. So it's like 4 or 5 different snow cones in the thing, right?
Mhm.
Then they cover it with, I don't know, 5, 8, 10 different candies, like rows of candy on the outside. So you're getting like 10 different desserts in one, or 12 different desserts in one. But as you start eating it, you discover like new candies inside and treasures inside, and these jelly beans that burst into flavor. And like, it's the most, like, it takes half an hour to eat for
Heck
two
yeah.
people. And they're like $10, and they're $10 in a country where like a full meal could cost $1.
Right.
They'll have this like $10 dessert that you sit there and eat for like half an hour, 45 minutes. Best dessert ever. I don't know what it's called, but it's a South Korean thing. But they have them in the U.S. But yeah, like all dessert should have treasure inside.
I agree. I think
Yes.
they banned that after Kinder eggs. Remember those?
Oh, I'm vaguely remembering that.
It was a chocolate egg with a toy inside, marketed for
Oh, the kids were
kids.
choking on
Yeah, so I think they stopped like allowing treasures inside of things.
them. No, this is not. They don't have those. They don't have those rules in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, no.
Buyer beware. But yeah.
Uh,
So anyway, that's dessert in Asia. Like that, Asia does great desserts, just not just not ice cream. Oh, I'll give you one more. So we figured
okay.
this out. I've tried ordering milkshakes like over in multiple countries, and
Mhm.
everywhere we go, it's chocolate milk. They don't put ice cream in it.
Is it good
It's
chocolate milk at least?
No, it's chocolate milk. It's
Mm.
Ovaltine and milk.
Oh, okay. That's no
But
good.
here's the funniest part though. They'll actually, like, you'll hear it in the back, you'll hear the blender going. Every time you think, oh great, finally a real chocolate milkshake, I hear the blender, it comes out. And it's not so much milk that it's thin. It's like literally just chocolate milk. There was no reason whatsoever to use a blender
Right.
except to make us think that they're making a milkshake.
Man, you'd think like it took one YouTube video and they'd be like, "Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong," but it never happens.
No, no, no. Like I said, they just like I'm not like America, rah rah America. I'm not saying
I
America's
am.
better at everything. I'm just saying they're better at ice cream.
Well, let's go back to America real quick and talk about the next Silver Series going on next weekend. Which is a new event actually, the 2023 Discrafts Cascade Challenge.
Presented by Grip Equipment.
This is taking place in Washington at Shelton Springs. Have you been there before?
I have been to Shelton Springs.
Nice.
Um,
Perfect.
yeah, Shelton Springs is. I ran an event out there actually, 2015, 2016.
Mhm.
I remember it being an absolutely fantastic course. Well, I thought there was two courses for some reason. Now that, but I remember thinking very highly of it. Um, I think that they've probably stretched the holes out. It wasn't as probably as hard as it needs to be for the tour. I still think it was like a par. Like I'm sure they made it harder, but no, it was an amazing property. Um,
Yeah,
I
I don't
actually
have course stats here, but in
Yeah,
the
it says they
description,
are creating a new competitive layout for the tournament.
yeah. So it says it consists a few open holes, but primarily consists of tight lines, carved through the old growth evergreen forest with plenty of gaps off the tee. So we're getting back into woods golf, which I'm
no,
always a fan of.
it was woods golf, but it was. I remember it was just good. It was good woods golf. It's actually what I remember from it is that it's the when I teach all my classes, my disc golf classes, I teach that when you throw an overhand,
Mhm.
even if you throw it correctly, you are susceptible to injury. And if you're older, like talking about a thumber or a tomahawk, if you're older, that motion puts such a strain on your rotator cuff and or bursa sac that you are risking injury. So I always tell everybody tread really lightly. If you haven't thrown a baseball or a softball in 20 years, don't go out there and try to like throw a tomahawk full speed. You're gonna blow your, if you're older. That is the only place where I actually have I gotten injured just from throwing a disc, and it was throwing thumbers. I was out there throwing thumbers, a lot of thumbers on that course, and my arm started to hurt, and I kept going because like I never had an injury from throwing before, and I kept going, and I couldn't throw even a sidearm for about 6 months after that because
You're
my
crushing my
arm just went
dreams.
through that motion. It's the only time I've ever been injured, and it was from throwing,
My dreams.
not throwing wrong, just because thumbers can be so hard on the body.
You're crushing my dreams, Scott.
No, by the way, now I warm up. I throw thumbers. I throw 400-foot thumbers today. Still today, I can throw a thumber 400 feet.
Okay, cool. So he still throws the thumber then. We're in
Oh no!
there.
Oh my God!
That's
I
like my
absolutely
ace in the
but
bag.
I
The amount of times a thumber has gotten me out of trouble.
I don't do it without warming up, and I don't keep throwing it if it gets sore. Although I don't think it's gotten sore since then. But if it got sore, I would stop after the first moment, and then it would be fine.
It
So
it sucks because like I was first introduced to disc golf back in like 2008. I had a buddy take me out, and all he threw was overhands. So I didn't know any better. So like I threw overhands, and it killed my shoulder. And I'm like, I hate this. This sucks. I'm never playing this again.
right,
If I just had a friend that knew how to throw a backhand in 2008, man, I've been playing so much more.
dude, there are so many times. I mean, there are so many holes out there where if you have a like if you have a thumber, you will be better than any player in the world who doesn't have a thumber. There are holes that are just like there's a 40-foot gap up in the trees or an 8-foot gap low.
Mhm.
And like I'm throwing through a 40-foot gap and you're throwing through an 8-foot gap. I don't care who you are in the world. I'm going to beat you on that hole more times than you beat me. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like why everybody doesn't have every shot. I mean, there are courses where you have to have a thumber. I'll tell you what. The last time before I went on the disc golf pro tour this year, the last time, so before last year, that I played an open tournament, uh, uh, an A tier in the open division, was 2015, and I was 45 years old, and I won by 12 strokes. And Drew Gibson was there, Paul Ulibarri, Matt Dollar, Jordan Castro, Noah was there. Like it was there were great golfers there. And I won by 12, and the reason why is that course was just all thumbers.
Mm-hmm.
Now Matt Dollar has a thumber. He could have easily won that tournament too, and he just didn't play well. He for sure could have won, but Gibson and Ulibarri didn't have thumbers, and they were throwing through like 6 foot wide gaps with S turns, and I was throwing 350-foot thumbers like right over the trees easily. Like it was I was throwing easy shots. They were having to throw hard shots. Like there was no game.
Yeah, I don't have a thumber. I have a tomahawk, but I don't have a thumber. I don't like the way a thumber feels. It's just not like doesn't feel like a natural type of grip to me. I hate it. I've used them before, and that they've worked well before. It's not one that I enjoy using, so I just tend not to.
Yep, thumber has saved my butt more times than I can count.
Thumber's great. I threw a thumber on 2 of my holes this week on my 14 under. Where 2 of my drives were 2 or 3 of my drives were thumbers.
I threw a thumber to save one of my birdies on Saturday.
Well, before we get out of here, say somebody was thumbing through your socials. Why don't you tell them where you're going to be?
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah, just search
proud of that
Scott
one.
Stokely. That was really, really good. because if you're tomahawking through my socials, see, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So if you're grenading,
there you go.
No, it doesn't work either.
Are you going to be in Grenada?
I am going to be in Grenada.
Okay.
I will be. I'll be everywhere at some point.
Yeah.
No, you can catch me on all the different social medias. The big thing is notjustashot.com. Check out the documentary.
Yes.
I'm telling you guys,
we'll put it up again.
Everyone watching, this is the best. I still don't have the words to describe. I mean, I've seen it and I'm just blown away. It's the best thing and I've seen disc golf. It's so good. So notjustashot.com.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Go there, pre-order it. While you're there, get whatever else you can. I don't know what else he's offering, but support the project.
Yeah, just the documentary, and then me and him do a reaction video where we watch the documentary and stop and talk about it and stuff. That's awesome. I think it's next at $2.99 to get that, which is really fun. It's long because we pause it, so we watch the whole documentary, which is just over an hour, and then we actually stop and talk about it. So it's actually a lot, but it's good. It's really good. I mean, he's going to be a player in the sport.
Heck yeah. Well, speaking of reactions, make sure you come back next week when you get our reactions to the silver event happening over the weekend right here on Outside the Circle. Ready?
Thanks, everyone.
Sign off.